Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a loaded episode that's going to be covering some roster moves. Former Hawk is heading out west, key players' development and his potential role with the team in the rotation next season, and potential roster shakeups still brewing as we inch closer to training camp. We have a good little while until then, but in the meantime, we got a lot to cover, so we're going to be talking about the departure of Daeqwon Plowden and what it means for Atlanta. Onyeka Okongwu's evolving three-point game and how that could impact the starting lineup and maybe the bench. And a mysterious delay surrounding Caleb Houston's expected signing. There's been some hesitation there, and we're going to talk about that. And finally, could Terry Rozier be a sleeping target for the Hawks, potentially in the buyout market? We're going to discuss it all here and jump right in and talk about how Daeqwon Plowden is heading to Sacramento, the former Hawk. So according to NBA insider Michael Scotto via X, Plowden has agreed to a two-way contract with the Sacramento Kings, going from a two-way contract with the Hawks to the Kings. His agent of One Motive Sports confirmed the deal to Hoops Hype. Plowden spent last season on a two-way deal with the Hawks, and while his NBA opportunities were limited, he definitely didn't play a whole lot last season, but in the minutes that he showed, he was pretty good. He made the most of the limited minutes that he got. In 6 NBA games, Plowden averaged 7.2 points, 1.8 rebounds in just 12 minutes per game, so good production in the limited minutes he had. But most notably, he shot a scorching 64% from the field and 53% from beyond the arc. An eye-popping stat line that definitely raised eyebrows around the league. I know in just the few minutes that we played him in that first game, his NBA debut, actually, he was 5 of 6 from beyond the arc, and he displayed some real high-flying ability and just some real three-point shooting confidence. At 6'6", Plowden went undrafted out of Bowling Green in 2022, but he's built a solid resume over 3 years in the G League. Definitely a very solid G League player, and after strong showings in the 2025 Summer League, actually with the Sacramento Kings, he earned himself another shot. He'll get to display that in Sacramento, and Sacramento's definitely got a injury-prone team, so maybe he gets an opportunity as early as next year. Regardless, we're going to be tracking Plowden's growth as a player in Sacramento. We wish him the best. You might remember he was also part of that 7-team trade earlier this offseason, the one that sent Kevin Durant to Houston and also Clint Capella to Houston. So even in limited time, Plowden's name has floated around in some big-time movement. He obviously wasn't the headliner in that deal, but nonetheless, his name was still being floated around. He was a spark plug in a few games last season and quickly became a fan favorite for the Hawks diehards, watching closely, as some like to refer to as sickos. He made an impression. Now with Sacramento, he'll have a fresh opportunity to carve out a role long-term in the NBA. So we wish Daeqwon the best as he continues his NBA journey. And it was fun covering him for the few games that he did play with the Atlanta Hawks last season. So now let's talk about Onyeka Okongwu, who, has been on the verge of a breakout for the past few seasons. And I'm not just talking about his shot blocking or his rebounding ability, hustle plays. For the past couple of seasons, Onyeka has slowly been adding a reliable three-point shot to his game. As I'm sure you all know, I'm sure you all watch the Hawks pretty closely. Onyeka's three ball has looked really good, especially towards the end of last season. He's shown some significant growth. That effort in trying to add that part of his game has really paid off, especially for the Atlanta Hawks. So there's a new workout video that's circulating on social media, and it shows Onyeka draining threes with confidence and fluidity. A lot of consistency there. He looked like that three ball is still developing into something that could be elite. This development could be huge for Atlanta's offense. So we've already seen how having a floor stretching big opens things up. When Capella was off the floor in the minutes that Onyeka got, especially like I said late in the season when his three ball was really starting to blossom and Capella was out of the rotation, the offense looked a lot better, and it's been something that we've been preaching for all of Trey's tenure in Atlanta, that he needs to stretch big. And now with the acquisition of Kristaps Porzingis and Onyeka still developing his three ball, there's going to be a lot of open floor on offense. That video of him hitting threes at a very elite clip has kind of makes him look like he's poised to take another leap. If he can push that 3-point percentage from 32 to around the 35, 36 percentage range. That's enough to space the floor and really force defenses to respect his jumper and open up the floor for guards. The question of whether Onyeka Okongwu or Kristaps Porzingis will start at center remains very much in the air, and most would assume KP has that advantage, and I certainly do right now. Due to obviously his size and reputation around the league and true offensive versatility. But if Okongwu's shooting trend continues, and he still obviously adds that defensive versatility and is able to play much quicker than Porzingis is, the coaching staff may have a bit of a tougher decision than originally expected. I don't expect Okongwu to start next season, but I do expect him to maybe play more minutes nightly than Kristaps Porzingis. I expect Porzingis to start, but Onyeka to play more minutes than him off the bench, and I don't think that's a ridiculous take. It's definitely a storyline to monitor closely as training camp approaches, and there's a lot to consider for the Atlanta Hawks coaching staff. So now let's shift to a smaller yet intriguing wrinkle in the Hawks offseason, and it's something that happened just a couple weeks ago. Multiple outlets did report that Atlanta had signed Caleb Houstan to a one-year deal, the former Orlando Magic player who hadn't really had a great opportunity with that team, but he kind of needed a change of scenery, if you will, and he's going to get that in Atlanta if this signing is ever made official. It was reported by Michael Scotto, the original report, but this was never, noted by Shams or any, major reliable media outlet, which was really interesting. I feel like Houstan is a player that is capable of kind of generating a little bit of talk. So I'm surprised that like Shams or anyone did not report that. But we've seen nothing come from that. The move was seen as a solid, low risk, high upside pickup. Especially for a team that could use more size and wing depth and shooting really. Here we are though, weeks later, and the deal has yet to be made official. Very weird. The team usually is quicker on making these deals official, and they send out their PR emails and it's made official pretty quickly after the deal is made, but just not for this one. And it's very interesting. It could be a case of simply ironing out contract specifics or awaiting league approval. Maybe there's a verbal agreement that just hasn't been signed yet. But the delay is notable, I will say. Keep in mind, Atlanta had previously reached a reported two-way contract with Kentucky guard Lamont Butler, which ultimately fell through, and Atlanta has all their two-way spots now locked up. Could the same thing be happening here? I truly hope not. Houstan is still, very young, and he showed flashes with Orlando as that floor spacer that Atlanta could seriously use. He's a great spot-up shooter and has great size for his position. If the Hawks can finalize that deal, though, it would give them another developmental piece with some real upside. Certainly something that could benefit the Atlanta Hawks going forward in this new era. And we can work on his defensive ability, but the shooting is there. He shot over 50% from three in the second half of last season with the Orlando Magic. So it's someone who I'm surprised they're letting walk, but I was super excited about the pickup. I just want to see it be made official. If it's confirmed, Atlanta would have that one final roster spot remaining that we've been talking about, which does lead us to our final segment of the video. Could Terry Rozier end up in a Hawks uniform? According to Miami Herald reporter Anthony Chang, the Miami Heat remain open to trading Rozier this offseason. The problem is that contract. No team is going to want to take on that contract. If Miami really wants to get rid of him, they can buy him out. That is always a possibility. We've seen that happen a lot recently. So he's set to earn $26 million in the final year of his deal, which is next season. And for a team like Atlanta that would potentially be interested in him, they're already operating close to the cap. A direct trade is impossible without offloading major pieces. And they obviously wouldn't want to give up anything for a guy like Terry Rozier in the big 2025. So if Atlanta showed any sort of interest in him, the buyout market would be where they would. If he is eventually bought out by Miami, which is looking like a real possibility, the Hawks could swoop in and offer him their last open roster spot. And I think that would be a very beneficial use of it. But let's be clear. Rozier's season last year was very underwhelming by his standards. He averaged just 10 points on 39% shooting and an ice-cold 29% from deep after joining the Heat. Very, very disappointing. But he still has some left in the tank. Compare that to the 23 points per game he averaged with the Hornets right before the trade. The drop-off is significant. But there's reason to believe that Rozier still has, that ability left in the tank, and maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Maybe Miami's system isn't for him. In a bench role behind Trae Young and all the other guards that we have to play good minutes, he could be a spark plug off the bench, and definitely not a bad fit. He has that playoff experience, some scoring instincts, and that kind of edge that could really bolster Atlanta's backcourt depth. So definitely something to monitor. If he ends up getting bought out by the Heat, I would expect the Hawks to at least show some sort of interest. He kind of fits that identity that we're trying to build. Hopefully that buyout gets done, so then the Hawks can have a chance at him. So there you have it. An important rundown of what's happening right now with the Atlanta Hawks. We say farewell and good luck to Daeqwon Plowden in Sacramento, and we're going to continue to watch Onyeka Okongwu's development. I can't wait for some of these training camp videos to come out, just so we can see how much his three-point shot has progressed, just from the end of last season to now. It already looked super good at the end of last season, so I want to see how much it can improve. And then also, we're going to wait for official word on Caleb Houstan. I'll keep you guys updated if that is to be made official, and then also Terry Rozier's situation with the Miami Heat and a potential late offseason surprise. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, who do you think should get that final roster spot? I know we've been talking about that roster spot a lot, and I said on Twitter yesterday that I'm kind of going crazy talking about it every single video because the Hawks have been really quiet recently, and it's what we're used to as Hawks fans, but not this offseason because of how active they've been. So thank you guys for watching. Once again, I'm Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.